Okay, so we take a look how they build S3, spanning tree protocol operation. How to elect the root bridge, how to block the redundant path, and so on. So there are several steps in order to create a loop-free topology or spanning tree. So first, elect the root bridge, and then all the port, the port connected or connection between switch. We must select a root port. So we have a switch, which only one we can a root bridge, but all the port connected between switch, we must select certain port as a root port. So before we select as a root port, we need to know what is a root port. And then we need to select or elect designated port. And lastly, elect alternate port, or in bracket they put as a block. So sometimes we call alternate port, or sometimes we call as a block port. But there is another name. Okay, if you look, read the book, and certain book, they call as a non-designated port. Because the alternate port actually supposed to be designated, but we need to put as a blocking state. So we call them as a non-designated port. Okay, during spanning tree algorithm and spanning tree functions, switch use bridge protocol data unit or BPDU to exchange information. Okay, every network, every device inside a network, they keep exchange information between them. So we have a one protocol we call as a BPDU, bridge protocol data unit. They are sent between switch. So inside that BPDU, there is a one info that crucial in order to create a loop-free topology. They call as a BID, bridge ID. Okay, inside the bridge ID, there is a priority value, which means every switch has their own bridge ID, have their own priority value, followed by the MAC address of the switch. Okay, and an extended system ID. Extended system ID actually has been calculated or summed into the priority value. So it presented as a one value only. Priority value plus extended system ID and the MAC address of the switch. So in order to select a root bridge, they will use the lowest BID value. So the lowest BID value determined by the combination of these three fields. So how they do actually? They just list as a priority value followed by the MAC address. So in order to select the lowest bridge ID, we can compare the priority value. Okay, if we have the same priority value, and then we go to the MAC address. Okay, where is the system extended ID? System extended ID actually has been added into the priority here. So, if you see here, the default BID is a 32,768. But they also presented with a plus system extended ID. So, system extended ID present their VLAN ID. So, for VLAN 1, by default, all switch are using VLAN 1. So, they will plus 1. That's why their priority value will be 32,769 instead of the default 32,768. Okay? At least you must be using VLAN 1. Okay, so if we have the same priority value, we take a look at their MAC address. So in this case, this MAC address is 00A, same 00A, 00A, and then followed by 002, 001, and 003. Which one is the lowest? With the 001. So switch with the MAC address 001 here, we can a root bridge because they have the same priority value. But if they have a different priority value, let's say switch 1 have a lower priority value, 24577. So this switch will be elected as a root bridge. So for a priority value, by default it's a 32,768. But the value cannot be any value, any number. It can be from range 0 to 61,440, but the number must be in the increments of 4096, which means we will multiply of 4096. So it can be 4096 or 8192 and so on. Okay, that's how they put the number of the priority value. So a lower bridge priority is preferable, but if we have same priority, we take a look their MAC address. Okay, a bridge priority of 0 take precedence over all other bridge. So if we would like to make one switch as a root bridge, we can put as a 0. So no other switch will be take over them, because the default is 32,000. But we can always decrease by 4096, which means 32,768 you minus 4096 and get one value, and then you put into one switch. So that switch will become a root bridge. But if the other people or other switch would like to be a new root bridge, they can decrease the value for another 4096. Okay, that's the other way. Or you can increase the value of the switch, priority value, in order to make sure that switch doesn't become a root bridge. So there are many ways for you to manipulate them. Okay, it's stated here, a standard system ID is a decimal value added to bridge priority ID. It represents the VLAN. So if VLAN 10 will be added as a 10. So how they elect a root bridge? So as I told you, by comparing the bridge ID and MAC address. But in the real situation, the switch will be exchanging the info through the BPDU. So when we start a switch, when we boot a switch, every switch will declare they are the root bridge, because they doesn't know about the other switch. So switch 1 we declare the root bridge is a switch 1. Switch 2 we declare the root bridge is a switch 2 with the priority ID of this and this. Okay, switch 3 also we declare the root bridge is a switch 3. And then switch 3 will tell switch 1 and switch 2. Okay, switch 1, you are new here. I'm the root bridge. Okay, switch 2, you are new here. I'm the root bridge. Okay, switch 1 also sending the info. I'm the root bridge to switch 3. I'm the root bridge to the switch 2. Switch 2 also we send I'm the root bridge to switch 1 and to the switch 3. So for the switch, when they receive BPDU from the other switch, so they will compare their BPDU. We compare their priority. Is it correct I'm the root bridge, or their claim is correct? So when switch 3, if switch 3 receive a BPDU from switch 2 first, so switch 3 we say, oh, switch 2 is a root bridge because it have a lower bridge ID compared to mine. So switch 3 we update the info. Okay, now the root bridge is a switch 2. And switch 3 we send out the BPDU with a new info inside the new BPDU. Okay, my bridge ID is this, but I know there is other root bridge, which is a switch 2, send to a switch 1. But we doesn't know which one we send first, but just imagine if there is no switch 1 in this case. Okay, and then switch 1 coming later. Okay, switch 3 we send to switch 1, but switch 1 we will send to switch 3 after switch 3 receive the info from switch 1, and then switch 3 will be update again. Oh, there is a new root bridge, switch 1. So the calculation will be always done recalculation if we add or remove a new device inside our network. Okay, after a certain time they converge, and then we have a root bridge declared. And then from the root bridge or from the BPDU, they also include a message about their link. So if switch 1 has become a root bridge, so they will send the BPDU to switch 3. So switch 3 will be update the BPDU that they need to send to other port to switch 2 here. So there is a route from me, but they must go through me through tran 3, and if I send to you, must go to tran 2. Switch 2 also receive a BPDU from switch 1 through tran 1 here. So switch 2 can decide which path we need to use. Switch 3 also can decide which path we need to use. So in order to decide which path they need to use, they need to know, or they need to put a root port. So in order to determine the root port, as I said earlier, elect a root port. They need to know the cost in order to go to a route. So to determine the route path cost, we can summarize or calculate all the value for every link. So let's take a look here. From switch 2, in order to go to switch 1, it can go to tran 1 or it can go to tran 2 and tran 3 through switch 3. So all this tran or this connection have a value. So what kind of connection that we use? So if we are using 10G, 10 gigabit per second, the value is 2. If we are using 1 gigabit per second, where G, they have a value of 4. But if we are using 100 megabit per second of fast Ethernet, the value is a 19 and Ethernet is a 100. Okay, most of the time in our network, we will be using fast Ethernet or gigabit Ethernet. So it can be 19 or 4. Okay, but there is a revision for rapid spanning tree protocol. They are using the value of 2000 for 10G, 20,000 for 1G, and 200,000 for fast Ethernet, and 2 million for Ethernet. So you can see here, with the faster link, they are using the small value compared to the lowest, the slower link, they are using the higher value, which means the cost, if you are using 10 megabit per second, will be higher compared to the cost we are using the 10G, will be lower. So in this case, in order to elect the root port, every switch must select a root port. Okay, for a root bridge, there is no root port inside a root bridge. Okay, for a root bridge, every port will be put in the designated port. Even though we haven't elected the designated port yet, but as I can tell you, all port in the root bridge will become a designated port. Okay, for switch 2 here, which port will become a root port? Okay, root port actually a port that go toward to root bridge with the lowest cost. So switch 2 need to know the cost. So if they go to tran 1 here, the connection is a fast Ethernet. So fast Ethernet, the cost is a 19. So the cost to tran 1 here is a 19. But switch 2 also can reach switch 1 through switch 3. So the cost in order to use the path 2 here will be tran 2 plus tran 3 will be 38. So which one is the lower cost? Of course, it's a path 1. So switch 2, we select F01 as a root port. Same for switch 3. Switch 3 will calculate the cost. In order to go to switch 1, the lowest cost is through F01. So F01 will become a root port. But the situation can be changed. Let's say we are using a gigabit Ethernet here. It's not G0, but it's not F0, but for G0/1. G0/1 here. And here G0/2 and G0/2 in here. So from point of view switch 2, in order to go to switch 1 to tran 1, the cost will be 19 here. But the cost if you go through to switch 3 will be 4 plus 4. 4 plus 4 will be 8. Which one is lower, 8 or 19? So 8 is lower, so switch 2 will be choose G0/2. Let's say this is G0, gigabit Ethernet. So we will use this link. So the cost is not the number of device, but the speed of the link. So the switch will be elect a port with a lower or the higher speed in order to become a root port. So we have done with a root port. So every switch have a root port. Switch 1 doesn't have a root port. Switch 3 and switch 2 have elect the root port. Now they need to elect a designated port. So as I said earlier, all port in the root port or root bridge is a designated port. Okay. We have the situation with just a 3 switch, but what you have another switch here? This switch here have a root port in here. So a port of switch 3, let's say there's a switch 4 in here. A port of switch 3 that connected to a root port on other switch become a designated port. So you see, in the link there is one port as a root port, the other port become a designated port. It doesn't matter is this a root bridge or not. So let's say switch 2 are using this link, not this root port here. They push this one root port. So F is not F lah. It's supposed to be G02 in here. We become a designated port. So a port that the other end is a root port. So this port become a designated port. But if there is a situation when both port, a segment which doesn't have a root port, or in this case, connection to switch 3 and switch 2, there is no root port in here. So how can we choose a designated port? So a designated port will be chosen based on their bridge ID. The switch with the lower switch ID will be picked as a designated port. So in this case, switch 3 and switch 2 compare their bridge ID. Switch 2 has a lower bridge ID. So switch 2 will put F02 as a designated port. So port on the F02 on switch 3 will not be put in designated port, but will be called as a blocking port or non-designated port or an alternate port. So when we can alternate port, it will be logically block all the data. So we have prevent a loop in here. So that's how they create a spanning tree or loop-free topology. But there are many other scenarios, not just a tree switch, just like this example.